G'day guys, and thank you very much for coming to watch this video. It's about Betaflight Rescue and things that can go wrong, and it taught me a lot of lessons. I'm lucky enough to have a couple of quads. All of them have GPS on them, and I make sure to set the rescue up and test it prior to actually flying the units. This particular quad is a Titan that I built in analog format, and the reason being is I wanted to use the R9 receiver, which is a 900 megahertz apparently long range, and it has a Zeus VTX 800 milliwatt card in it as well. Now, on this particular day, I was down at the beachfront just doing some general flying. In Betaflight, when I set up the GPS Rescue, what I do is I make sure to set the return home altitude normally at 60 meters, because most of the trees in the area where I live are not 60 meters high. I also set it to come back within 40 meters of myself. The reason for this, I don't want the quad out somewhere around 200 meters and I cannot actually see it. Whereas if it's within 40, I can hear it. And if necessary, I can take my headset off and watch it crash land if I'm unable to regain control. Now, initially I was always setting the 60 meters, and then I thought it might be a better idea to set the altitude to return home at maximum altitude. That sounded like a good idea because I occasionally fly up hills and mountains, and I wanted the opportunity to go up the hill, and if it failed safe, I didn't want it descending from, say, 100 meters down to 60 meters and crashing into the mountain. So I set it at maximum altitude. This turned out on this particular day to be a bad idea. And what I now do is I set the GPS Rescue for wherever I'm going. If I'm flying around the normal area, which is flat, it is minimum altitude 60 meters. If I'm going to fly on mountains and things like that, I will estimate the height of the mountain, and I will then set the GPS Rescue height so it's higher than the mountain to ensure it comes home. What you're going to see is this Titan flying quite happily without any issues, and then you will now hear what goes on. The quad at this point in time is flying quite happily along, and I'm out over the sea. On the left hand side you can see there is a tower for mobile phones, and I don't know if that had anything to do with this problem. It may well have done. In the distance there you can see it was a day when the jet ski racers were out having fun, and at this point everything seemed to be going along, and I was going to fly down over that race. All of a sudden the quad decides to rotate, descends, which is weird. You can hear the beeping in the background, nearly crashes into that tower, starts heading back towards me. At this point in time I have no idea what's going on, and fortunately I did not disable it because it would have fallen into the sea. At this point I don't have control, and it is obviously trying to establish its 40-meter perimeter, which it now does. And at this point in time, about here, I'm able to get back control. This is because you need to actually move the levers more than 30-40 degrees to get the control back. And I have control over the drone once again, and it starts flying back towards me. And that's me sitting on the back of the ute over there. Okay, so what did we learn from that? Basically, what did happen properly was the quad did come home. It came within the 40 meters, and it was going to descend quite happily. And at that point, I was able to get the control back and land it quite safely. The things I learned afterwards were that in order to get back control when it's in a fail-safe situation like this, is you need to move the sticks around when it's within range, and once it goes either into a pitch or a roll, you will get the quad control back. The other thing I did notice, which was very helpful, was in my goggles I had set the alarms in the OSD to indicate if there was a failsafe, and very clearly inside the goggles, when the beeping was going off, I could see a big sign flashing in front of me saying failsafe, failsafe. I then realized what had actually happened, but I don't know what caused the problem. And the reason I say that is because two things were probably an issue. One was the radio telephone tower, which I'm sure could have had an impact on the actual control. The problem was I had perfect VTX. I would have expected that to affect both. The other thing was I was flying behind myself, which obviously everyone says don't do. However, with my other quads, which have got DJI air units in them, I can fly behind myself a long way without any issues at all. So I have not experienced this before, but what I've learned from this is when you set up GPS Rescue, do it properly, set your altitudes correctly, go out and test it a few times, make sure it works, and hopefully you don't lose your quad into the water or the sea. I didn't. I got lucky again. That's 3 times I've been lucky in a row. Let's hope the luck continues. Good flying, guys. Have fun. Enjoy your drones. And thank you for watching.